All right, so today we're going to learn about triangles, and maybe we're going to learn how to classify them. Just like angles, we had like different kinds of angles, like obtuse and straight and acute. Um, we're going to do that with triangles too. So today is just kind of put them into categories and the different kinds of triangles that you have. So we're going to classify the triangles. Now, what is a triangle? Triangle is exactly what it sounds like. Tri as in three, and angles as in angles. So it's a shape that has three angles. Okay, three angles, and also then three sides. And then simple definition of a triangle: three angles, three sides. A shape that has three angles and three sides. So we can tell the different kinds of triangles they are by their angles and by their sides. Okay, so let's first of all just classify, okay, by angles. Let's classify triangles by their angles. So I'm going to draw, there's three types. So I'm going to draw across here three different kinds of triangles. All right. The first kind has a right angle. And if you have a right angle, then you call this a right triangle. Okay. Now, a triangle can only have one right angle, right? It can't have two because then it would kind of open up the sides. Some things basic things you need to know about triangles is one, they all the angles add up to 180 degrees. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And there's some rules as far as how the sides work. We'll talk about that too. Okay, so you can only have one. There's at 190 degree. It doesn't matter what the other angles are. As long if you have one 90-degree angle, then it is a right triangle. So this has okay. So we have a right triangle has one 90-degree angle. Okay, one 90-degree angle. The next kind of triangle we have is called an acute triangle. An acute triangle has all acute angles. So I'll make up some numbers here. Let's just make them real easy. Let's just say that this is, I don't know, 7 degrees, and this one is 80 degrees, and that means that this one has to be 150, so this one is 30 degrees. Okay? All of the angles are under 90 degrees, right? That's what we said. Um, that's what we said an acute angle is, right? Less than 90 degrees. So all the angles are less than 90, which means it is an acute triangle. Now, if you notice on the right triangle, there are two acute angles, right? This one and this one are smaller than 90. They have to be. So it's really about the third angle, right? There's always going to be every triangle has at least two acute angles. It's the third one that makes it determine what it is, whether it's right or acute or the next type, which is, you probably guessed it, an obtuse triangle. Sorry for my drawing. Let me try that one again. All right. An obtuse triangle has one obtuse angle. And it can only have one obtuse angle. You can't have two obtuse angles. So, for example, on this one, let's just say, again, we'll make it easier on ourselves. We'll say this is 100 degrees. We'll say this is 50 degrees. So again, that makes this one 30 degrees. So again, two of the angles are acute but it has one obtuse angle, one angle that is bigger than 90 degrees. So you should be able to look at a triangle and look at its measurements and just say, oh, that's an acute triangle or that's an obtuse triangle. Um, all right, so those are the different kinds of ways that we classify triangles by their angles. Okay, we classify them by their angles. All right, so on your homework, you're going to need to be able to look at a triangle and tell me, is it a right triangle, an acute triangle, or a obtuse triangle? That's part of it, at least. Okay, so we said triangles are made up of three angles, and they're also made up of three sides. So we're going to classify by sides. All right, so the first kind, all right, I'm gonna put these little marks. These marks means that all the sides are equal. Okay, so we'll use easy numbers here. We'll just say 10, 10, and 10. They're all 10. So this one we call, if all the sides are equal, we use the term equilateral. These words are a little bit tougher. All the sides are equal. And also, all the angles are equal as well. Okay. And the angles, if they're all equal, they actually all have to be 60. So an equilateral triangle is kind of like a square, right? Like a square has all the sides are equal. An equilateral triangle is like the triangle equivalent of a square. All equal sides, all equal angles. Everything is equal, thus we call it an equilateral triangle. Okay. So equilateral is one that if you see everything is 60, 60, 60. And here's the thing, the angles are related to the sides, right? Like the bigger the angle, the bigger the side is going to be. Um, so for example, if you look at this obtuse one, notice the longest side is this line right here. That's because the biggest angle is right here, always opposite. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so equilateral. If all the sides are equal, then it is an equilateral. Okay, now we're getting into some of the words that are a little bit tougher. Okay, what if only two sides are equal? If two sides are equal, then we call this an isosceles triangle. Two equal sides, and also that means it has two equal angles. Okay, so for example, let's just say these are 15 and 15. Doesn't matter what the bottom one is. And then we'll just make up some angle measurements for these. We'll just say this is like, I don't know, 75 degrees and 75 degrees. Okay. Okay, so two equal sides, and it's called an isosceles. Now, the way that I like to remember this one is like because of those two S's in the word isosceles, it kind of reminds me that there's like, I don't know, that there's two things that are the same. I don't know, however you want to kind of figure that one out for yourself. Okay. So isosceles, two equal sides. Okay, and then the last kind of triangle. Last kind, okay, we have two equal sides, or three equal sides, two equal sides. How about one equal side? Well, that doesn't make any sense. There are no equal sides is the next one. So let's just say you had a triangle that looked like this. That looks a little bit, sorry, like these sides are equal. Let me try again. All right, this is called a scalene triangle. No equal sides. So let's say you had a triangle that had measurements like that. You have no equal sides. It is a scalene triangle. Okay. So here's a vocabulary word. So you need to know all six of these words, and think of it this way: every triangle has two names. Just like you guys have a first name and a last name, every triangle has like an angle name and a sides name, and we put them together. So let's do an example here. Let's just say, I'll just make this, okay. Let's say we had a triangle that looks like this. All right. So first of all, let's do this by the angles. Okay, let's do this by the angles. So we look at our angles. We say, okay, is there a right angle? No, it's not a right triangle. Are there acute angles? It looks like it. Is there an obtuse angle? Doesn't look like I have an obtuse angle, right? So here are my options, right? I've got right, acute, and obtuse. It's not a right triangle. It's not obtuse triangle. So this is an acute triangle, right? And then we do it by the sides. Well, I don't have three equal sides. I have two equal sides. So the full name of this one would be an acute isosceles. First name, last name, right? We want to tell the angles by their first name and their last name, is the way I like to put it. Okay, so this would be an acute isosceles. Let me give you guys just one more, and it'll be the last thing we'll do. Let's say I had a triangle that looked like this. What do you think this triangle would be named? Remember, give me its angle name and then its sides name. That's right. All right, anyone else want to put in a guess? All right, very good. We're getting some good answers here in the chat. Okay, so first by its angles, we have one obtuse angle, right? This one right here is definitely more than 90. So we're going to call this obtuse. And are any of the sides equal? No, doesn't look like it. So it's scalene. Obtuse scalene. All right, so you need to be able to tell angles by their triangles by their angles and their sides. Okay. Again, 6 vocabulary words, 3 of them that we already know, right? So let's kind of review again real quick. So we have right triangles have a 90-degree angle, acute triangle, all acute angles, and obtuse triangle, one acute angle, obtuse angle. Sorry. And then we have these bigger words, equilateral, everything's equal in an equilateral triangle. Easy to remember. Isosceles, this was probably one of the harder words, 2 equal sides, and a scalene, no equal sides. And there you go. That is how you classify triangles.